Tell me there's live.
Hey everyone, my name is Bailey Bryan. I'm a stage 4 melanoma survivor. I'm here at the Truth About Cancer Live in Orlando, Florida, with Sternagel. He has an amazing story about his son who was 11 days short of 1 year, his first birthday, when he was diagnosed with brain cancer.
Neuroblastoma.
Neuroblastoma.
Can be in the brain. It is in his spine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm just going to let him share a bit of his story with you and then give some tips to parents who have their children who are diagnosed with cancer. So take it away.
Thank you. It's very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
So yeah, my wife and I had our son Ryder, is his name, and we love him. He's a great kid, and everything was, typical 0 to 1 year childhood and all that good stuff. And about a month before his first birthday, my wife Teddy was breastfeeding him and found he was bent over in just the right way, and she found a lump on his back. And so we were concerned about it. We took him into his pediatrician, and they really weren't that concerned. It was even a naturopathic pediatrician. But, told us to, and a couple other red flags started popping up at that point that things started adding up. He was just about a year old, and he was born on like the 90th percentile of, height and weight, and he dropped down to like the 25th. He just stopped growing after the first 6 months or so. He just stopped growing. And he also wasn't crawling at a year old. He could barely pull himself up, and, a lot of kids are even walking by that age, and he wasn't even crawling. And so yeah, all of that, it just really started to bug us when everything added up. And so, that lasted like a weekend, and we took him back and said, no, we really need to see somebody about this. We got referred to the hospital, and they actually sent us home and said, come back in 6 weeks. And we just kept,
That's a long time.
Yeah, and, and that also lasted like a couple days. We're like, no, something is wrong. And Teddy was actually clicking around, my wife, on, just trying to figure out what was going on herself. And she actually found neuroblastoma, which was, what he would end up getting diagnosed with. And she had him diagnosed with neuroblastoma before any medical professional did. Just that's what her gut was telling her. And long story short, we finally talked our way into getting an ultrasound, which sure enough, there's a mass there, and and then that led to an MRI, and yeah, so the MRI they told us was supposed to take half hour, and I think we were waiting for like an hour and a half or almost 2 hours. I think it was almost 2 hours, and so we kind of knew something was wrong, just waiting there, and the doctor and the nurse both came back in, and they had tears in their eyes, and they said that the lump that we felt was just the tip of the iceberg. He's got a tumor in his spine that's bigger than his kidneys. He's got secondary tumors, and they all metastasized into his bones. And so that was tough.
Stage 4.
Yeah, it was stage. It took a little while for them to officially stage it or whatever, but yeah, stage 4. And
so what did the doctors tell you that you needed to do?
Chemo. Yeah.
But what you were telling me yesterday was that you had a different mindset going into the situation.
Yeah, I mean, we had, we're here about the truth about cancer, and so we've been learning a lot the past few years. But even back then, I had seen, several just natural cancer documentaries just out of general interest and stuff, and just knew that there was more that we wanted to do. And so we, long story, we went back and forth to the hospital and everything, and we did end up doing some chemo. We came to find out you don't really have a choice when you're a parent.
Right.
Legally. Yeah, but we were doing everything, like all the stuff that you learn about.
Name a couple.
Oh, infrared sauna. Our house is like a little, alternative cancer clinic in there now. We got the juicer, an infrared sauna, Rife machine, just all these different gadgets. So we're making all these big ticket purchases. We were taking him into a naturopathic oncologist, and he was getting IV vitamin C, DMSO infusions, just whole cupboard full of supplements, and for him, we actually, our big thing was, he was 1 year old, and it's like, how do you get all these supplements into a 1 year old? And so feeding tubes is like, usually if the kid gets all emaciated and he's not able to eat anything else, and that's when they'll put a feeding tube in. And we said no, before he gets anything, we want to put a feeding tube in, and we want to start pumping him full of just juice, nutrition, supplements, everything we could. We were clicking around on the most chemo protective, for the healthy cells, supplements, that sort of thing, and so we're getting all that good stuff into him. Had a whole little. We brought a juicer into the hospital.
Wow.
And we were making all of his own, the feeds, as the nurses called it, in the hospital. And they never seen anything like that before. And so I mean, through it all, he remained. We joke that we looked more like cancer patients than he did, because he was getting all the nutrition, and we were staying up all night researching and everything. And that's, if there are any parents listening, that's one thing that we. If I could have changed anything, I would have taken better care of myself, because that's you just perform that much better for your kid. You learn about energy and how your energy can come off on someone else, and so definitely keeping that energy up, I'd say, would be something that we could have changed about ourselves. But
kids are full of energy; they're
Yeah.
hard to keep up with.
Yeah. But all that being said, he looked really great the whole way through. What treatment he did get, and then at some point along the way we actually ended up moving to try to find a doctor that was more, or a team I should say, that was more open to a wait and see approach, and not necessarily finishing out his whole protocol that was prescribed to him, because he was doing so well. I'd like to think we have something to do with that.
Yeah.
And we ended up finding that, and he ended up getting half the conventional treatment he was supposed to, and that was 3 years ago now. And the primary tumors the secondary tumors are gone. There's no more metastasis. The big one is, I don't know, it's like 5 or 10% of what it was to start. It's been flatlined for over a year now, so we're pretty, like to think it's just scar tissue at this point, but he stays on a pretty active, we still got his whole daily routine printed out right on the fridge, and he gets up in the morning and takes some supplements and does a little, sits on the tray, does trampoline jumps, and we go do some energy medicine, and he says his little positive affirmations, and we got, still got quite the day full of just good stuff for him, so yeah.
That's awesome. Oh man, I bet you guys are so inspired. I know I am. So thank you, Ryan, so much for sharing, and enjoy the rest of the conference.
You too.
Thank you.
It's Bailey.
And you too, guys. Enjoy the rest of the conference.